one of the three railways that Russia intends to build that will connect to China at high speed will travel through all three nations. The goal of the nation is to quickly rebuild the home economy and fiercely expand the nation's trade with China. Estimates for the project range above $260 billion. This is an extremely challenging project that is also divisive. When the railway is finished, though, Russia's situation will be better and perhaps even continue to improve. The reason Russia constructed the railway to China has a significant bearing on the state of the world today. Russia has been under pressure from several groups in the West and Europe for the past 2 years, and its economy has previously experienced a deterioration. Before we go on, subscribe to this channel to watch about the most shocking and amazing world projects. Ready? Let's begin. Russian natural gas primary export market has traditionally been Europe. But this year, Europe stopped importing energy supplies from Russia, and the amount of energy that Russia exported to Europe fell by about 50%. However, at the same time, Russia saw a 63.4% growth in its natural gas shipments to China. With a population of 1.4 billion people and the largest demand in the globe, China is the biggest market in the world for any nation. Additionally, they have the China-Europe Railway Express, which is a Russian railway project. The first railway from Russia to Xinjiang is the second justification for traveling to China. Russia's territory is only 55 kilometers away from a region of China in Xinjiang. Once completed, cross-border trading between Russia and China can be realized in 30 minutes. In addition to linking Mongolia and Kazakhstan, China's railway also connects Russia to the north. Russia intends to use this route to send ore and other raw resources to China. Since it was first introduced, this idea has received a lot of attention, and a lot of people in Europe are in favor of it. However, the railway plan has drawn criticism and inquiries from the United States. One of the causes is China's extensive rail system. A transnational train that travels through China is known as the China-Europe Railway Express. In the past, Western nations did not support this project, but now all nations want to work with China since the China-Europe Railway Express can be used to move cargo at 2022 in the quickest time possible. The trade partnership between Europe and China will be fueled by more than 10,000 trains that will travel to more than 200 cities across 24 different European nations. China's main point of departure is Xinjiang. Europe has trains. More than 5,000 China-Europe trains have entered and left the nation so far this year. Trade between Xinjiang and European nations is active and has grown by 40% during the previous years. Russia intends to construct a railway to Xinjiang for this reason. However, building this railway is incredibly challenging. Despite just being 55 kilometers long, this railroad construction is not too easy. There are several mountains and jungles along the border. 2 bridges and 3 tunnels must be built over 55 kilometers of difficult terrain, protected areas, and ecologically sensitive places. It will take at least 2 years to build the railway if it is to be built. Russia is keen to construct a railway to China, to energetically expand trade, and to make up for market share that Western nations have lost. Furthermore, we can access abundant resources that lead to other nations through China. After the railway is finished, there will unquestionably be a significant boost in Russian exports. Second, the Chinese city of Xinjiang is a popular tourist destination with a special port for agricultural goods. Agricultural products from Xinjiang have recently entered the European market, resulting in a 44.5% increase in the overall value of trade exports. The railway connecting Russia and Xinjiang, China, will be the quickest route between the two countries once it is opened. Second, railroad. A high-speed rail project spanning 3 nations is involved. The project was expensive and challenging to construct. The railway is 7,000 kilometers long in total. Starting in Beijing, China, and moving via Kazakhstan, the route ends in Moscow. Train travel from Russia to Beijing used to take 6 days and 5 nights. It took 2 hours to switch tracks because the two countries' railway systems aren't identical. People felt extremely worn out after the entire trip. However, if the high-speed rail is constructed, it will only take 30 hours to go by train from Beijing to Moscow. Why then does Russia seek to build a high-speed rail system to China yet the United States has none? The longest railway in the world, the Trans-Siberian Railway in Russia, is still in regular use. It already needs improvements or repairs. High-speed rail has now arrived in Africa as well. High-speed rail is the quickest mode of transportation besides airplanes, as demonstrated by its presence in China and Africa. It can spur economic growth and raise people's standards of living. In order to improve the relationship between China and Russia, Russia has decided to usher in a new era of high-speed rail. Russia is situated in an alpine area where the local environment is quite hostile. It is exceedingly unstable and characterized by seasonal frozen earth. Despite having necessary construction experience, China faces challenging local geological and climate circumstances, as well as extraordinarily large construction distances. You are aware of the project's difficulty. This enormous project, even if it will take longer than 5 years to finish, the wait will be well worth it. Third Railroad China, Russia Railroad Bridge across a river. The Cross River Bridge is the first river railway bridge that connects China and Russia across international borders. The project will be finished in April 2022. The railway is 6 kilometers long in total. A Sino-Russian joint venture constructed it. The railway connects Khabarovsk, the largest city in the Far East, west to Europe and runs from Heilongjiang, China, to Siberia. The railroad has a 21 million ton yearly cargo capacity. Trade between Russia and Northeast China has surged by 45% since the railway's opening, and the logistics flow has changed from going west to China, then east. Within the context of the project, the two nations intend to use the railway to create a new land grain corridor. To organize the storage and transshipment of some grains, the Trans-Baikal Grain Terminal, with an annual capacity of 8 million tons, is expected to open. Russia will raise its economic level through commerce with China, and China will also use the transportation of goods to market many of its own goods. Tens of millions of people in both nations now live in Russia, considerably improving their standard of life. This partnership is referred to as win-win. So what type of changes might be expected in China and Russia as a result of the railway construction? For a long time, China and Russia's collaboration has been moving in the direction of mutual gain and win-win outcomes. China has pushed for close coordination across several nations in order to create a society with a shared destiny for humanity via peace. Russia is currently experiencing a number of internal issues, and commercial exports have been halted. The only hope for Russia is China. Long-standing stable relations between China and Russia will be very beneficial to both peoples, whether it is through access to the Chinese market or Russia's resources. Nations are capable of progress. Since 2021, China has launched 15,000 China-Europe trains, of which half entered Europe through Kazakhstan, adding to the demand on railway operation and maintenance. As a result, the Sino-Russian Railway can help Kazakhstan reduce this pressure. After the railway between China and Russia is finished, the China-Europe Railway can be utilized to transfer Russian resources to Europe, and the other half of the trains can be used on other railways, relieving Europeans of their pressure. Our understanding is that 7 nations led by the United States have jointly frozen the present foreign exchange reserves of the Russian Central Bank. Additionally, the Rapid Resolution Mechanism has been suggested for Russia. The United States-led Western nations are getting ready to obstruct Russian funds, technology, and trade. Therefore, Russia needs railways more in order to increase their opportunities. All 3 of these cross-border railway projects require both parties' unspoken cooperation to be completed because they are in tough settings and on difficult terrain. Despite the fact that the project has always generated controversy in Europe and the US, many nations are not hopeful about it. Russia won't halt the building of the railroads. The first railway and the remaining 2 routes have been finished. It might take a few years or possibly longer to finish, but once it does, the country will undergo significant changes, which is a positive development. Share your opinion in comments. Also, click on this video to watch about another shocking project.